What's up guys, Dr. Zed here, and today we'll be going over part 3 of understanding pain, where I'll be talking about how pain is transmitted to the brain. But before we get into any of that, if you haven't yet subscribed, be sure to click that subscribe button. And also, if you didn't watch the previous video yet, where we talked about how different sensations can actually end up leading to pain, be sure to check that out, because it'll make this video so much easier to understand. I'll put a link in the description below for that, and I'll also put it in the eye somewhere in this video. But without further ado, let's get into today's content. As always, I like to just recap what we talked about in the last video. So in the last video, if you remember, we were talking about how thermoreceptors, chemoreceptors, and mechanoreceptors, different receptors that pick up sensation in and around the body, can actually end up leading to activation of nociceptors if their threshold is surpassed. And once the threshold of the nociceptors are actually surpassed, they end up leading to a pain sensation. Now, in today's video, I'll be talking about transmission. Now, you'll see how there's two different types of fibers here, and I'll kind of explain what's going on. So, the A delta fibers, these are the fibers that are quick to activate. They activate first, and the nociception and the pain that they kind of generate are the sharp and the short-lasting kind. It's when you stub your toe, it's like, oh my god, that hurts a lot. It's really sharp in the beginning, but then it kind of fades and dulls out a little bit. And at that point, the C fibers begin to activate. These are the more delayed ones, the more delayed fibers actually. So they take a little bit longer to activate, but they're more longer lasting. These can last for about days, probably even a week or so, something like that, if it's really bad. Now, here, I actually have a little diagram of the spinal cord and basically the nerves that go in and out of it. Now, if we think of it as in like a real body, let me just put some directions here. So this would be the back, and this would be the front. Say if someone was standing up. Now, towards the back here, we see sensory, and towards the front, we see motor. Let's talk about sensory, and don't worry about the motor for today. Now, sensory, and remember, nociception and pain is a sensation. So basically, these fibers would carry that information, and then they would kind of go in through here, and then they would join up in this little, almost like this little bulb of nerve cells. It's also known as the dorsal root ganglion, and it's basically where all the nerve cells, the sensory nerve cells, kind of synapse or join together, and then kind of keep going on their way. And then from that point, it actually goes into the spinal cord, where then it crosses midline. Also, this is known as decussation. It crosses midline, and then it synapses or joins up in this front part of the spinal cord that's on the other side of what it entered. And then from there, it goes up into the brain, and it ends up in what's known as the thalamus, which is the central relay center of the brain, where basically all the information, sensation, memories, basically anything kind of goes into there, and then it gets sent out to where it needs to be. Now, just to recap everything that we talked about today, as we remember, noxious signals or nociception is now carried by the A delta and the C fibers, which then they enter the dorsal root ganglion first, and then from there they go into the spinal cord, where they cross midline, and then they synapse or kind of join up on the anterior or front portion of the other side of the spinal cord in which it entered. I know it's fairly complicated. And then from there, it actually goes straight up into the brain, into the thalamus, which is the main central relay center for the entire brain. Now, again, I hope you guys liked today's video. If you did, be sure to click that like button. And just like always, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay alive.